What I was talking about was the last year's denial of service attacks and distributed denial of service attacks, and looking, especially focusing on the ones that are launched by IoT devices, Internet of Things devices. And I was giving the test case of the Mirai BotNet, which was a really huge botnet, very famous. And in our labs in Incapsula, we analyzed it both by looking at attacks from the wild and by analyzing the source code, which was released publicly open. A couple of months later, we started seeing many different variations of the original source code. So this time, the infection method has become slightly different, using different techniques, and sometimes even the uses of these botnets was not only for DDoS, but for several other things like spam and Bitcoin mining and some others. Many people take it to many different places. We even noticed that in the original source code there were a couple of bugs that I believe that were fixed later on by some other people who tried to reuse it. And there are some nice evidences in the source code itself that are showing you it's sort of a very good test case of how does a DDoS botnet operate. So you can even get to the economical stuff, because there's some evidence of user relation management, like customer, the CRM, the customer relationship management and billing. Of how do people actually purchase this botnet for their use, which is something that we observe. Even you can open the internet and just Google DDoS for hire, and then you'll find that there are some different services which offer this, either if it's directly or indirectly, or maybe they are sometimes calling themselves stressors or booters, but you can buy them even in the open internet, not necessarily in the dark web. Sometimes it's about the solution itself and how is the solution being implemented, which there are several different methods in the field of DDoS mitigation providers. And sometimes it's more about the denial of the attacks themselves. How are they launched, or do you know? The usual question is, do you know who was behind it? Which in DDoS is very difficult unless you really have to sort of reverse the whole way of how do the bots connect with the command and control server and then take it. So many times it just the brain behind the DDoS just stays anonymous. This time with Mirai it was slightly different. I think I read some stuff in the media saying that that the Mirai creator was caught, but I'm not sure. We usually talk about the misconceptions of DDoS mitigation services. The first is that not only bandwidth is what matters. Many times this is what captures the headlines in the media, but there is a lot of importance, of course, to bandwidth, but also to packets per second rates. And something that I'm not sure if the APNIC community is so much concerned with, but with the application layer DDoS, which is usually not even seen in terms of bandwidth or packets per second. It's a matter of requests per second. These are the HTTP attacks. So this is the first one. The second one is that a protection against DDoS is quite hard. Many times people think of some on-premise solution that might be able to mitigate, but many times the upstream link is the bottleneck. And this is where you need to understand that the method should be more as close to the attacking devices as possible. And this usually ends up with having a cloud solution or maybe a hybrid solution of both on-premise and cloud. I think that indeed, IoTs are going to be devastating for the world of internet security, at least for the next few years, until maybe vendors will start to understand what are the implications of their devices not being secured, or maybe some regulation organizations will come up with different compliances that they will ask for, and if this will be part of the whole compliance package that at least larger organizations have to comply with, it might make things a bit better. And yes, until then, it's just protect yourselves as much as you can, and make the attackers understand that their attacks are not as profitable as they used to be.